Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is the cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we'll be talking about the Joker. So I've said from the very beginning, as soon as the news came out that Joaquin Phoenix was attached to this project, that he was going to be playing the Joker, I was immediately excited for it. I know that there are some people who've been very skeptical of this, saying, I'm not sure, do we really need another film? Do we really need another reboot? How is this going to work within the DCU? But the fact that they've made it pretty clear this is going to be a separate film apart from the universe, which I think is probably a good thing, because you kind of have to be separate from the current DC universe at this point, because when you look to films like Justice League, when you look to films like Batman v Superman, it's not looking very good. It looks really, really bad. And then you look to Suicide Squad and you see that what they're doing with the Joker with Jared Leto, and it's awful. It's just absolutely awful. We look to most of these DC films and they've just been train wrecks. They've been terrible films. And it's really sad because we started off with some really, really good, solid films, because I really do think that if DC, if the people running it, if Warner Brothers had actually looked into this and actually said, you know what, we're going to try and jump off of the momentum that was built by Christopher Nolan's Batman films, I think we would be in a much better position. But unfortunately, they decided to embrace Zack Snyder's direction, embrace Zack Snyder's vision, which, I'm sorry, is one of those things where it just... Even the movies that I liked by him have not aged very well. I go back to 300. When I saw that movie, I remember I loved it. But when I watched it recently, I thought to myself, man, this does not age well. The effects don't age well. The CGI, everything about it just does not last. It just does not it does not age very gracefully. And so we look to all those films and we see this is not a very good direction. So the fact that this film already is existing isolated from all that is already a good thing, because it's about time that we have a one-shot film. I really do think that this, if it's successful, which I really do think it will be, would be a very cool thing for them to do in the future. If they could have this concept where maybe they try and eventually revamp the franchise, they try and revamp the universe, because they really do need to at this point. If they keep going in the direction that they are, other than Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman, there really isn't a whole lot to run home about. I mean, I think Henry Cavill is fine as Superman. I think that Ben Affleck was fine in Batman v Superman as Batman, and then eventually in Justice League just was totally inconsistent with his character, and that's less on him, more to do with the writing and directing than anything else. But at the end of the day, we really do see that a lot of their characters are problematic. A lot of those characters just aren't really that strong, other than Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. And so I really do think that they should try and revamp things. And so one way that they could do that, or at least to put that off, to give themselves some time to work on that, because they really need to start to collectively think, what is the best thing going forward? How can we bring this franchise to life? How can we start to actually compete with Marvel? Because at this point, there's no competition. It's if they went head to head, if they went head to head at this point with another Justice League film versus another Avengers film, they would get blown out of the water. And it has very little to do with the whole Marvel fanboy versus DC fanboy nonsense. General audiences would much rather go to see a Marvel film at this point than a DC film. And I'm looking at Aquaman as a great example of that. I think Aquaman, yeah, is it going to make money at the box office? Sure, but it's not going to bring in Marvel money. It's not going to break $1 billion. Again, DC films have not broken $1 billion yet. So the question, going back to the question, what can they do? What are some things that can be done now to try and address those concerns and maybe give themselves some time? Doing one-shots like this, doing one-offs like this could be the way going forward. All they could do at that point is focus on these individual characters. They could bring in big actors, someone like a Joaquin Phoenix, to play or portray a certain character, and then just have a one-off film. Don't have a franchise, don't have this franchise mindset, but instead just tell a good story with a good actor, because guess what? That's going to get people interested in your property, interested in your characters once again. And also, if you have success with that, if you do have a tremendous amount of success with this Joker film, guess what you do? You take it and you say, all right, we're going to take this and run with it, and we're going to apply this to our larger universe. That is one way you could easily do it. Instead of trying to make these random big budget CGI fest, CGI gore fest almost, because it just looks awful. It looks so bad. Instead of making those films, make these smaller, independent type films. Not to say this is going to be small and not going to cost a lot of money with Joaquin Phoenix in it, but still, comparatively to the other ones, you can easily spend less money and still make a great character study and still make a good character arc story. And already from the picture, so I was already excited. I was already excited for this film because of Joaquin Phoenix being attached to it. Now I'm even more excited. And that's despite my concerns with the fact that the Hangover director is the one that's involved with this project, because, Hangover 1 was great, but then 2 and 3 kind of fell off the wall. So that was already had me a little bit concerned. But Joaquin Phoenix was the selling point from the very beginning and continues to be the selling point even now. So obviously, We now have some pictures from set. So we've got a picture right here. So this is all getting from Screen Rant right now. So the set of, rather the Joker set photos have been revealed. So there's one right there. That's just cool. I mean, that is a Joker that we have not seen on film yet. You know, we've had the classic Joker. This is kind of almost like almost a mishmash in a lot of ways. You know, more like the Jack Nicholson version. But I really do think that this could be a very good balance. They could have this character be kind of a balance between the two, where he's not just a clown. He's not just dressed up as a clown, or the Clown Prince of Gotham, but also they could maybe even try and have it be that look, but with the Heath Ledger attitude, with the Heath Ledger intensity. Because if anyone can pull off that kind of performance, it's Joaquin Phoenix. And we can be critical of certain roles that he's portrayed in the past, but no one can deny that he's a hardworking actor, and he's great. And he's very, very good at his craft. He knows how to craft very good characters, and he knows how to stay in those characters. And already from these, again, just from these images alone, we have pretty much all we need to look forward to this. I mean, look at that picture right there. Not just him as the character that he's playing, but also him dressed as a Joker. It just, again, it's so different that it's refreshing. It's good for us to have something different for a change, especially when, again, going back to the fact that this is going to dive into the DC universe in some way. Again, not going to be connected to the main films, at least at this point. If this film does well, especially at the box office, they might want to consider it. They might say, hey, let's take this film and use it to spin things off. You know, keep certain characters on. For example, Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. I think that would be a good thing to stay on, but change the dynamic. Make it more realistic. Make it more real life. Because then at that point, you can make it gritty. The problem with DC at this point is that they've tried to create comic book aesthetic, comic book understanding, as well as trying to keep this Marvel sense of comedy, but then also add grit to it, add darkness to it, dark colors, dark tone. And it just doesn't work. The way that you can make that work, though, is if you try and bring it down back to earth, because at that point, the grittiness would make it work. The grittiness would actually work with that kind of project. But when you have these heavy CGI films, and I'm not saying that they have to get rid of and fall away from CGI altogether, but to go back to earth, to these less CGI-heavy projects, more practical effects, practical scenes, I think would be a very good way to get things back on track. And I really do think this movie, at least at this point, based on what we've seen, might be the best way to go about doing that. So we have that. Of course, we have Marc Maron's character being portrayed here as well. Again, not too excited about that because I'm not a huge, Marc Maron fan. I have nothing against the guy. I just don't really know him all that well, other than I know that he did a show on some network at some point. But then also we have these images too. We have the actual video itself. I'm not going to play it for, copyright purposes, but we do have videos. There have been videos that have been released. Again, you can find this all on Screen Rant and probably find it on YouTube and other places, where it's a subway scene and he's walking out, taking off the mask, and it's him in this makeup. And if this is going to be the final makeup, I think it's great because it's something new, it's something different, and it is not so ridiculous as the Jared Leto version, because Jared Leto's version was also different. But guess what? It was silly. It was stupid. It made no sense. It was one of the dumbest decisions that they could have made because it was just, it didn't work. It was too much. There was too much change, but also there wasn't enough character. Because had they had that kind of change, and had he had maybe the performance of a Heath Ledger, or maybe at least the character depth of a Heath Ledger Joker, maybe at that point it could have been justified, but it's not. This, however, you got the character already. Just from an image, we have the character already. People are saying, this is a Joker. This is a good new modern portrayal of the Joker. I'm sure that there's probably some, because there's been so many comics written about the character. I'm sure that there's some character that people say, oh, this is going to be most like this person's version of the Joker, and I'm sure someone can find that. But to me, as an audience member, again, as someone who's a film guy, not a comics guy, this is new, this is refreshing, and it's pretty damn exciting. And I'm so excited. Cannot wait for Joaquin Phoenix to play this role. We have Thomas Wayne here being attacked. I really hope that, I like this guy a lot. I really do like their casting of Brett Cullen. I think that he's going to be a really good guy, but I really hope that, originally they were going to be having the whole, oh, he's going to be like Trump, because that's one of the reasons why they wanted to get the other actor that they wanted. I really hope they don't go that route, because one of the things that could derail this film, the one thing that could derail this film, is if they try and make it political. If they try to make political commentary about things going on in today's world, if they try and make him into a Donald Trump-like character, that is not going to play well with a lot of audiences. There might be some people that will eat that up, but for a lot of audiences, it will not like it. And I'm not just talking about people who support Donald Trump. I'm talking about people who want to escape. Again, one of the main reasons, one of the primary reasons we go to the movies is to escape, not to have modern day politics thrown into the discussion. So we already have these images coming out. We also have release dates. You have, Aquaman, Shazam, Joker, Wonder Woman 2, Birds of Prey. And getting into this release date schedule, I really do think we need to talk about this. So Aquaman's not going to make $1 million. I think that it might peter out. I think it might make even less than Justice League at this point, because Jason Momoa, as much as I like him, he doesn't have enough to be that leading guy. And the movie is such a CGI mess, at least according to the trailer. I just don't think it's going to be enough. Shazam was funny. However, the problem with that film is that it might be a little too much like the plot of Big, which I think is might be a little bit distracting. Joker, I think it's gonna be fantastic. October 4th next year, cannot wait. Gonna buy tickets, gonna go see it in Dolby because already I am sold on. So unless they try anything political and that comes through a first trailer, at that point would be the only time I'd be worried. Wonder Woman 2, I think it's gonna be great. I really hope that Patty Jenkins was able to take any of the mistakes from the first film, because I think the first film was good. I don't think it was perfect, but I think that it was a film that is definitely something to be proud of. But it still also doesn't really match up with a lot of the best films from Marvel either. It's not quite there yet, but it could be. And I think Patty Jenkins is going to take what she learned from that project and be able to apply what she learned forward and make some really good films. And then Birds of Prey, I don't know. If Birds of Prey is anything like Suicide Squad, it's going to be bad. And at this point, based on what I'm hearing about it, based on the concept of the characters that they're creating, I think it's going to be a lot like Suicide Squad. And I think that's going to be a very bad thing and not good. But anyway, guys, what are y'all's thoughts about this? Do you think that any of these films are going to be good? Are you excited about this Joker film? Again, I'm looking at these images, and I am excited. Not just the images of him in the makeup, but even him without the makeup. I'm already seeing, this is a guy I could believe. Again, this is kind of the normal, everyday guy. You know, I've read at least The Killing Joke, and so it's interesting to always find out this backstory because there's so many different ways that you can take it, but I like how they're portraying him almost as this everyday guy, this normal dude, and eventually something happens to him that leads him to become the Clown Prince of Gotham, and I cannot wait to see it. So excited for this makeup, and I am very, very enthralled for this film. But anyway, guys, what are your thoughts about this? Let me know in the comments below. I greatly appreciate it. If you like this video, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. It helps me out a lot. You are all the best. Have a great day. And as always, God bless.